Hey everybody, welcome to the Power Hour of Love. I'm Charboil and with me is...
El Bandito.
Hey El Bandito, how's it going tonight?
Oh, man, I'm having a great night. We're so excited to be back here for the new year, for the new Power Hour, man, and we're just stoked to get things going. We got a great episode for all you beautiful people out there tonight. We are going to cover the 50 most anticipated games of 2018. That's right, folks. They have got all sorts of awesome stuff coming out this year, and we're going to run the gamut covering all of it.
Oh yeah, man. I mean, it's like... that's one thing, man. When the year turns, it's exciting because, the next stuff is coming out. I know when we hear about most of these things at like E3 and stuff, it's like, oh man, that ain't coming out until like 2018. Well, we're here. We probably have a couple more months to wait for some of the stuff that we're looking forward to. But man, I'm sure there's some really hot stuff coming out even in this month, but we're going to get to it.
Absolutely. They've got a couple of titles that are dropping just next week, so it should be pretty super exciting. A couple I think might even be coming out tomorrow, but we're going to do a quick rundown because it's 50 games. So we're not going to bore you guys with a bunch of details about every single little one, but we're just going to go over them and check out the year in anticipation.
Oh, yeah.
And, it should be pretty exciting. Also, in the middle of our show today, we're going to be doing our first Infinity War countdown segment. So as most of you guys know, the Avengers 3 is going to be coming out later this year in May. It's going to be titled Infinity War, and it looks like Thanos is coming to Earth to jack the Avengers up and get his hands back on all of his Infinity Stones. So we're doing a countdown to that by taking the original 6 Avengers that came out in the original film, and we're going to rate each and every one of them right here on the show, give you a little bit of history and backstory to each of the characters, because so many of them have these rich 50, 60, 70-plus year histories and legacies that go back and incorporate so much more than what we see in the MCU. So we're going to give you guys just a little bit of a taste of that. Then we're going to put our official rating on each Avenger. We're going to let you guys vote on your favorite Avenger.
Oh, yeah.
And then we are going to dub the Power Hour of Love's Avenger Supreme #1 right before Infinity War comes out. So make sure to tune in for that segment a little bit later, or actually stick around for that segment a little bit later, and and make sure to vote.
You know it, man. And, like we say, man, we're the Power Hour of Love, man. So we're always talking about stuff that we love. And, what we'd really love for you guys to share the love. So, man, if you can go ahead and hit that share button and share this on your wall, man, that'd be awesome, man. Get your friends in here so they can listen to us talk about some video games they can talk about. Feel free, man, jump into some comments down here. We want to hear what you guys think, too. What are you looking forward to? Man, just share that love, man. Let's get the party going.
Absolutely. You want to kick off our countdown of games?
You know it, man. Let's do it.
All right. Now, we wanted to be fair. We didn't put these in any particular order. We ran straight through them in alphabetical order. So that's how we did it here, excluding the thes and ands and crap like that. But we'll go ahead and jump in with our #1. Anthem.
Oh, man, I know a lot of people that I've talked to are waiting for this one, too. Let me see, is he down there? Oh, man, Party Man Will. He's in the comments. I know, the Party Man. I don't know if this is his most anticipated game of 2018, but... he'll have to let us know, man. What do you think about this one, El Bandito?
Dude, I thought this looked insane. This did come out at E3 last year. They did a little presentation of it, and basically what it is you're like an independent mercenary warrior who lives on this lush alien world, and you get to, pony up in one of these awesome mech suits, and then just head out there and start kicking butt in whatever agenda you personally have for kicking alien monster ass.
Absolutely.
So it super looks like a hella fun game with a lot of cool sci-fi adventure stuff going down in it, and I'm excited to check this out.
Absolutely, man. I'd say ditto to that, man, because it did the demo that we got at E3. It seems like you can run around, explore the world on your own, but then also if your buddies are in the game, they can also join you as you explore this wild world. Does this take place on Earth, or is this kind of like its own world or something?
No, I'm pretty sure this is an alien environment, because I know in one clip that they show there's like a giant 100-foot monster that comes out of some ocean thing, but you're able to fly around in these little jetpacks, and it's not like in Fallout where you sure and then you go up 10 feet and then that's it. No, this is like you just have free flight like Iron Man style, and you're just flying around doing stuff. So this really looks like it has a lot of neat things going for it. It looks like it's got a little bit of that Armored Core element where a lot of the game is going to be packing out your armor gear and
There
stuff
you
like
go.
that. So it really looks pretty exciting. I think you guys should all keep an eye out for it. It's kind of one of the biggest games to me. This is one of my biggest, most anticipated games. So,
do we have any idea when this is coming out? Like, is it second quarter, third
no, like
quarter?
I said, I didn't record any of that stuff.
Okay.
I was like, whatever. You know? Like, it's just anticipating.
Sure. No, absolutely. No, definitely. But it's coming 2018. Awesome.
Absolutely. Next up on the list, man, we got a wild one here. We got A Way Out.
Oh, man. Okay. Well, what's this game all about?
Well, this one here is created by Hazelight Studios. It's led by the man behind the superb Brothers, A Tale of Two Sons. You remember that game?
Yes. Yeah, that game got a lot of acclaim.
Yeah, so this one's going to be a two-player co-op game. It's about two men trying to break out of prison. So I guess basically that's what you're doing is you're playing through this story kind of in an early 1970s setting
cool.
of breaking out of a prison. So it says it makes use of various like gameplay elements like shooting, driving, crawling, that kind of basic physical problem stuff. But this one I do have, it says it should be out March 23rd. So that one's coming soon.
Hey, all I got to say is there better be like a Ernest Goes to Jail expansion where you get electrocuted and start shooting guys with electricity. I know Party Man will know what I'm talking about. Hey, Justin McPatches has joined the party, man.
Look
What's
at
up,
that.
buddy?
I'm going to move my Stream Deck thing over here. I can't see it through my microphone. I didn't realize where I'd set it down.
Oh, man.
Put it over here.
Jimmy P's on here, too, man. He says this one's definitely on his list. So,
Nice.
yeah, this looks pretty cool. I mean, I like the concept. I mean,
Yeah.
prison movies from the 70s, are always a favorite,
Yeah,
Maybe like now
absolutely.
you could have your own Shawshank Redemption, right? I guess that's a little earlier than the 70s, but,
Yeah, but it's the same concept, Well, hopefully not a lot of the same themes, but the same concept.
Well, definitely. Also, Jimmy here is saying that the thing is that people, I guess, can join you online even if they don't own the game. So I guess that's kind of a cool thing there. So
Yeah.
well, hey, thanks, Jimmy. Thanks for filling us some extra info on this one, man. A Way Out. That sounds pretty cool.
Absolutely, man. All right, next up, we got Attack on Titan.
Oh, man, I got to say, man, I know a lot of our friends are big fans of this show.
Yeah.
I know we've watched some episodes, and this shit is crazy as hell.
Eating people, man. I don't know what they're doing in this show.
I mean, just watching it's scary enough. I can imagine playing a game with this on there, man. That would be just nuts.
So definitely based off the famous TV series and film series and stuff, this game is just going to be kind of a story playthrough of the series.
TV show.
Yeah.
Well, definitely, like I said, I know, just watching the action on the show, I could see this being a cool, like, action, horror, survival kind of thing,
Sure.
as you're trying to avoid these giants, the naked giants. That's the other thing, But I'm sure there's a lot that, goes into the story that we don't know about that could probably expand on the gameplay and stuff. But, definitely, yeah, I'm sure this will be one that everyone will be looking to check out.
Absolutely, man. All right, next up, we got BattleTech.
Oh, man, BattleTech's coming back? Oh, that's pretty exciting.
Yeah, it's the original BattleTech creator, Jordan Weissman, heading up the team behind the latest take on this mech combat game.
Oh, man.
It's going to be a turn-based strategy game, and it was funded on Kickstarter.
Oh, that's great, man. I love Kickstarter games, man. I got quite a few of them in my Steam library, and they're always like you can just tell that those have so much heart in them. I mean, not to say that, these company-made titles are less heart, but I mean, like, you can tell people that really care about those franchises and stuff put them into these Kickstarter games. That's awesome, man. Any idea when this one's going to be due out?
This one does not have a date on it, no.
Okay. Well, that's another thing you always kind of have to expect with those Kickstarter games is, sometimes they can take a little bit longer, but usually they're worth the wait.
Absolutely, man. Yeah, they come out with some good stuff, and I'm excited to see that there's a couple of Kickstarter games on here tonight.
Awesome.
So, the indie franchises are really breaking out there, and I love that.
Excellent, man. Hey, what's up, Kelly Jade? What's up, Jamie Lee? Man, we're filling up in here. We love it, man. Let us guys know what you think about these upcoming games, man. 2018, bunch of cool stuff.
Absolutely, man. Now, I know, Senor Bull, this is one that you put on the list, man. The Call of Cthulhu game, the official video game. So what do they got cooking over at H.P. Lovecraft's house?
Oh, man. Well, what's cool is, like, throughout the years, they've tried to make different Call of Cthulhu video games, based on the various mythos. And while they've been good, actually, I would say, like, of course, they'd already created, Morrowind and some of the other Elder Scrolls games. Bethesda actually took their swing at it back in like 2006, and they created a pretty scary first-person horror game, Call of Cthulhu. But man, this upcoming one, same thing. I believe this is through like crowdfunding. Like, yeah, man, this looks so like you're playing like one of the Fantasy Flight games, but you're completely immersed. You're an investigator in the 1920s. You're going around, you're searching for clues,
awesome, man.
and you're trying to stop those great old ones from returning. So yeah, definitely, I think this is going to be one to look out for. And if horror's your bag, man, go back to one of the original masters of horror, man. Come on, Stephen King cites this guy as a reference. I mean, Stephen King,
It's good stuff, man. No, we've definitely played enough of the board game variations of Cthulhu Mythos that I'm sure this game, it has so much to draw from, that there's no way this can't be a good game. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Oh, Party Man Will down here just said that Elite Dangerous was a Kickstarter game too.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
man, I mean, these Kickstarter games, what's cool is like, a lot of times people will be like, hey, I'd love for that to have a sequel. And I mean, just some of these major companies just don't see like the big dollar signs in it, but then it gives the opportunity for us fans, to fund these games and then them to make these awesome additions. So
Absolutely.
Hopefully Call of Cthulhu, I think this one's going to be coming out later in the year, closer to like Halloween and stuff like that. But
well, speaking of Halloween, independent games, Kickstarters, all that, man. I mean, I know you funded the Kickstarter for Friday the 13th again.
Yes,
and you got all this exclusive content and stuff that regular players can't even buy. Like, I got in late on the game, I can't even get it.
Oh, it's killer, man. It's killer.
So yeah, man, check out your local Kickstarter, see what's shaking out there. Got some good stuff, I'm sure. Another one here that, I mean, this okay, wait, I don't know if this is an indie game. I was about to say it's an indie game without even checking, but they got Concrete Genie coming out.
Huh.
So this game, it's a pretty game. It comes from the makers of Entwined. It's about a teenage artist who explores his gloomy hometown using a magic quill to create living art in order to defeat a gang of bullies.
Oh, that's pretty cool. Okay, so it's kind of like, isn't there a Marvel superhero that could do this, or a villain that could like use art and like they paint something and it comes alive? I think there's...
That's not something I'm familiar with. I know I've read that in like horror books and stuff before. I know we played a D&D campaign with characters like that in it.
Oh, there you go. There you go. It's almost like a Pikmin's model. There we go. We're pulling some H.P. Lovecraft back out there. But
so yeah, this looked pretty cool.
Oh man, definitely. Hi Katie D, hi Max D, everyone. What's going on? Keep throwing in those comments. We love it.
All right, we got Crackdown 3, man. Now, this is definitely some superhero-laden action because this is about, you taking up a superhero mantle and kind of going out and cleaning up a city, man. So this is a super cool series. I mean, if you don't know what Crackdown is, like, man, they throw it out for free on Xbox Live all the time.
Oh,
I mean, this thing is the jam. You got to check it out.
One thing I remember about the first Crackdown was that, like, when it first came out, like, certain PCs weren't even like, they didn't even have the specifics to run it at its highest setting yet. So they had to let it catch up. That's how advanced the graphics were for the game. I don't know if that's so much for the third entry, but I just remember that as like being a monumental thing for Crackdown. So definitely it's going to look awesome.
Absolutely. Yeah, it was a super wicked game, man.
What's next?
It has a big destructible environment and all, so that was always something I really liked. But The Crew 2 is coming out.
Okay, what's up with The Crew?
It's a sequel to Ubisoft's open world auto racer from 2014. This isn't just about racing pretty cars. All right, you race pretty much everything.
Oh,
right?
cool.
So you get to include airplanes, dirt bikes, boats, high performance sports cars on closed tracks, and the open world street racing cars. So it's a really like open world sort of Forza.
That's pretty cool. What would you guys like to race, man? Would you want to be flying the planes? Are you gonna be flying the cars, or driving the cars, driving the boats? Man. I mean, yeah, this sounds cool. I mean, this almost makes me think of like stuff you can already do in like GTA.
Yeah.
But still, like something that's more like about the racing and less about the destruction. That's probably pretty cool.
Yeah, and more honed in probably to the fact of how an actual car mechanics or plane mechanics would work. A little more realism.
Sure.
Pretty cool stuff.
Cool. So what's next?
Next up, we got Darksiders 3.
Oh, man, definitely. I know this is I at least from what I've read, people have been like waiting for this one for quite a while.
Absolutely, man. Are you a fan of the series? Have you played it before?
Not really so much, but I know a lot of people who are.
Well, in this third-person platform hack and slash, players take on the role of Fury, an unpredictable and enigmatic member of the Four Horsemen.
Okay.
Right? Fury wields a magical blade whip, which while she explores colorful post-apocalyptic environments, solving progression puzzles along the way. So it sounds kind of like an adventure game, except you're playing like one of the Four Horsemen.
Oh, that's pretty cool. Okay, definitely some destruction. Got some more, but no, I know this has always been a big,
Absolutely.
Yeah, people love these games. Have a lot of mythology behind them and stuff. So I'm sure the third entry will just continue that going down. I think this will be on every major console.
Yeah. Now this next game here, Detroit Become Human. All right, this is a wild sounding game. It's a choose your own narrative, right, game. It's stacked in a series of Matrix type potential outcomes.
Okay.
So it's based on a rich world in which androids serve humanity.
Oh, okay. Got a little Philip K. Dick style stuff going on there. Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
and you're sort of in the role of the storyteller. So this, like, you can see from the imagery, it's this hyper-realistic looking game that's mostly kind of told through cinematic elements, and it's basically like a choose-your-own-adventure book, except in a video game form. So maybe similar to a Telltale game.
Okay. I love those games,
Yeah,
man.
yeah.
I mean, I'm a big fan of the old point and clicks and stuff, so that's kind of like the next generation of your old school point and click adventure games. So, okay, this definitely has my attention. So definitely. So you're going to have like a bunch of different pathways that you can take. And
Yeah. It's saying it has a very like advanced, complicated matrices of different outcomes and stuff. So,
awesome. Well, definitely,
sounds
man.
pretty
No,
wild.
definitely. I'm going to have to go check out a video on this one. So what's next?
Dragon Ball Fighters.
Oh man, this one, it's going to get over 9,000 buys. You know that for sure. Now, I really like this image that I sent you for this one. I know you're not a huge Dragon Ball fan, but that's Vegeta totally kicking, selling the dick right there. So I just thought that was like the best image for.
Yeah, I have to say I quite enjoyed that.
Yeah,
It's pretty good.
Which one thing I have to say is like I've watched, like I remember like back on like PS2 and stuff. These games were looking pretty good, but man, so far, like this looks like the cartoon. Like this looks like you're playing in the cartoon. So to me, that's pretty cool. So.
Yeah. Same thing with the South Park games that came out. I love the fact that like we've caught up enough where you can play just right in that world.
Absolutely, man. No, it looks very interesting. The only thing I think it has going against this game is that there's so many of them. I mean, it's like almost like all the different variations of Street Fighter. Like, I know they keep the GT or the Dragon Ball thing going, so I know there's a bunch of new characters and stuff. So yeah, I mean, I'm sure it'll be interesting, but yeah, kind of cool. Looks awesome.
Yeah, I mean, it's a fighting game. People love fighting games, man.
You know it.
Yeah. All right, they got Dreams. This is another wild independent kind of style game here, man. I shouldn't call it independent. What's a word for that? It's like esoteric or something.
Yeah, like an artsy kind of. Yeah, definitely.
So this is from the makers, and you guys notice I have to write a blurb for these because I don't want to get them mixed up, and but they sound really cool though. From the makers of Little Big Planet.
Oh, okay.
This gorgeous world stars a little imp who travels through impressionist landscapes, solving puzzles via item collection, physical abilities, and possession of other characters. So the game's campaign is designed to encourage sharing of player-created game worlds, while the real meat looks to lie in those creation tools. So you can kind of create your own little elements of the game world.
Well, I know that Little Big Planet was a big hit, man.
Yeah.
So if it's got the same team behind it, man, this is probably going to be right up there, like you said, with that very creative, very cute kind of feel to it, man. So definitely, I take it. Do we know if this is going to be available on all systems, or is this more of a PS4 kind? Because I know Little Big Planet, I think, was limited.
Yeah, I believe this is an exclusive for PlayStation 4 as well.
Okay, so that's pretty cool. So definitely have to maybe.
That's not very cool, man. I don't have a PlayStation. What are you doing?
No, that's true. I wish they were more indie, but I think that's one of PlayStation's big pulls that they have their exclusives. So
absolutely. Well, if you're looking for a game that's all over the place, man, Extinction. You can find it on your PS4, PC, Xbox Ones, anywhere where you can play a game, you can rock Extinction. And this game is freaking awesome, man. All right, it's known for its fighting games like Killer Instincts and Dive Kick. That's the developer Iron Galaxy.
Okay.
But Extinction is about battling 150-foot ogres as they stomp around and destroy various locations, including cities and forests.
I have a feeling that the makers of this game were also fans of Attack on Titan. They were like, let's just change that to ogres and not be giants. But hey, at least from the looks of this image up here, it looks like they're actually wearing some clothes. So that's
an improvement.
Plus. Yeah.
For all the people who didn't like the film The Watchmen, because you know why, this game is going to keep it PG for you.
You'll never look at a blue crayon the same, right?
But this game does include also the element of you having to save humans and townfolk from the incoming menace.
Oh, that's cool.
So that should be a kind of an interesting little twist on the whole story as well.
What's next? Oh,
Far Cry 5.
I have to say, I've played a little bit of the earlier Far Cries, and I was never a super big fan, but dude, this one actually has me very interested. You know, usually they take place on some island somewhere, and you're kind of separate, you know, almost like a Lost kind of scenario. This, I think, for like the first time, they're actually basing it in like a United States city. Probably a fantasy city, you know, not made up one. But I mean, I think it deals with this, you know, cult-like group coming in and taking over the town. And like, I guess you're going in to try to, you know, save the citizens and stuff like that. But, you know, it's very, you know, it kind of fits almost like right in that same groove as like how we're seeing like, you know, Wolfenstein right now. Kind of like
or Resident Evil.
Yeah, and it's kind of reflecting some of the current issues and what people are fearing that, you know, oh man, some groups of power could just come in and take over a town or something.
Yeah.
You know? But yeah, it looks like it would be real fun, you know, so a lot of destructive environment and stuff.
I've always heard this series was stellar, man. I've never sat down and checked it out. I really should. I'm not sure this is going to be the game to just dive in if you've never tried it out before, because it might be a little too out there. But yeah, I've definitely heard the same thing, that these are very, very, very fun. So we'll keep an eye on that one.
Sure.
All right, next up, we've got Fee. I don't know if that's Fee or Fe. I think it's Fee.
Okay. This looks kind of cutesy, kind of artsy again. Okay, well, what's going on in this game?
Absolutely. Well, this is a Swedish-made game. It's from a company called Zoink. Fee is a symbolic personal fantasy that brings to mind powerful games like Journey and Shadow of the Colossus.
Okay.
Not the new Colossus, Shadow of the Colossus, different game. It stars a fox-like creature who seeks to protect the forest by enlisting animal allies through audible calls. So
okay. That's pretty cool. So you're going to have to bring the powers of the animals to you, like a druid, pretty much. Yeah, like in D&D.
Yeah. So it sounds pretty wild. Again, a little bit of an artsy game, but this one is one of the first ones we've mentioned so far. I think it's the first one we mentioned so far. It's going to be available on the Nintendo Switch as well.
Oh, cool, man. Well, hey, Party Man Will's over here saying that that's also the atomic symbol for iron. So I don't know if that has any ties to the Fee that, you know, but absolutely, man. That sounds pretty cool. Like I said, kind of the look of it's kind of cutesy and stuff like that.
Yeah, they make a lot of games like that where the art is just stylized more than realistic, you know, and that's kind of cool. I dig that.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, we got another game like that here, The Gardens Between.
Oh, okay. I've never even heard of this one. What's going on here?
Yeah, this one's an exclusive for PlayStation 4 and PC.
Okay.
It's about two friends who explore surreal islands, manipulating time to solve puzzles. Now, I love that element. I love those sort of time travel-y, time motion things. Go. I mean, Prince of Persia and the Sands of Time is probably the one... Excuse me. I remember playing first, and then as recently as the Fractured Butthole. Like that game has where you can manipulate time in it, you know? So
I've yet to dive into that one, but that seems pretty... I think even in the first one you could do that as well. So.
Yeah. Well, definitely, man. Like, I love that mechanic. I'm glad they include that in this game. And it seems to be that, like, you're going to islands that are giant-sized versions of everyday objects or filled with it. You know, video game consoles, walkie-talkies, recycling bins, soda bottles, Jenga blocks, all sorts of just, like, random garbage stuff, you know? And, you're trying to solve puzzles while you're there. So, sounds interesting.
Definitely, yeah. I mean, it looks kind of cool. It looks kind of like old. It almost makes me think of like the old Pixel games and stuff like that. So, that's cool.
Absolutely, man. All right, next up. Boom. God of War.
Oh, man. Now, I know this is like a... I guess a reimagining, for
what's
Kratos.
A sequel? I mean,
is it?
Yeah.
I know they said they're not calling it God of War 4, but it is kind of God of War 4, so I don't know if it's pulling like, you know, a Star Trek 2009 or something like that. It's going to rewrite some history. But I know from the video we watch, I guess Kratos has a son.
Yeah, he's like, so I have a son.
Yeah.
But yeah, apparently that's kind of the catch to this. And I'm not sure if you get to play as the son or if he's like your Tails, kind of your companion with you. But I know that he's going to be in the game, and they say that even though Kratos is a dad now, he's not pulling any of his punches. He will still have all the wrath of Kratos. So we're yet to see what happens there. Again, as a PlayStation 4 exclusive, I haven't been able to keep up with the latest God of War games, so I feel bad about that. But
well, it's almost like now they can almost have like the old Mario scenario, like someone kidnaps his son. It's like, sorry, Kratos, your son is in another castle,
you have to go to see a different god now. Sorry.
I don't think we have any Five Nights at Freddy's games coming out in 2018.
No, there's none on the list so far. But we do have Jurassic World Extinction. So, of course, based on the wildly, hugely popular, kind of sequel, I guess, to Jurassic Park,
Yeah. And a new one's coming out this year, too, so this might have some ties as well.
Yep, so it lets players run around their very own Jurassic Park, bioengineering new dinosaur breeds while building your own attractions, containment facilities, and research labs. So it's likely going to launch in the summer around the same time as the movie.
Oh, there you go. Well, that's perfect timing for it. I mean, definitely. And I mean, this has always been kind of interesting, when you talk about like Sim City and stuff like that. I could see this. I could see people getting into this, but it can always probably go so far. You know what I mean? It's like, but definitely, if you can engineer your own dinosaurs, that could be kind of cool.
Oh yeah, man!
You could have a Charosaurus,
a Charboilosaurus.
There you go.
Well, I definitely like that idea of getting to create your own dinosaurs, mix and match kind of components, but also building the attractions and parks. Like you said, definitely a very SimCity-like feel. But I know people love that. I loved that.
Oh man, is it gonna have like a destruction path where you can have Dennis Nedry come out and mess up your park? Or?
No, we'll have signs for the dock that just spin every which way, so you never know where they're going.
That's awesome. Oh man,
the much anticipated
Kingdom Hearts 3, man. I know we kind of touched on this one last week, and it's kind of we can't say this is an official 2018 game yet because they've been telling us that this game's coming for like the last 5 years. But hopefully, it's January. They've got 12 months to put this bad boy out.
You got 12 months to put it out, and I'll tell you what. I'll believe it when I see it. I said that last week. I'm going to keep saying that until this thing hits a shelf at a Walmart near me. Not buying it. Don't believe it.
One thing I have heard, though, is that one of the new worlds that Sora and Goofy and Donald will get to visit will be a Marvel-themed world. So
oh, that's pretty cool.
Might be worth the wait.
Yeah, absolutely. Just might be. Now, we'll show up and they'll be like, oh, look, it's the Fantastic Four world because we just bought it.
Well, that's the thing. They keep acquiring new licenses. So like, no, now we want to put Star Wars.
We got to put the X-Men's in there. All right, we got Kirby Star Allies coming up next.
Oh, okay. So Kirby's coming back here now. Who in the comments loves good old Kirby eating everything, man? Kirby sounds like me, man.
This guy was like my spirit video game dude because he was the character who just walked around and just ate everything he saw, and he would just be like. Just eat up everything, dude. So that's totally me. I'm excited to see a new Kirby game. This has like 4-player action in it, so it looks super fun. Obviously, it's on Nintendo Switch. They're not putting it out on anything else because it's a Nintendo exclusive.
Sure, so. Kirby and all those guys, they pretty much stay under that Nintendo banner.
Yep, and it's gonna be a side-scrolling game, so that's pretty wicked.
Oh man, there's definitely some talk in the comments here. People are loving that they're gonna be able to build Jurassic Parks together. So and also some love for Kirby. So
yeah, definitely. If you get to explore someone else's Jurassic Park, that would be super fun as well.
Sure. You get to cause havoc there. Steal the DNAs,
Oh yeah, in your little Barbasol can. So this is another one we got here that's looking pretty wild. I have to say, I loved the clip art on this one, the logo.
Okay.
Because it's called Knights and Bikes. So if you look at a bike from just the right angle, it totally looks like a sword. And I was like, that is awesome. That is awesome really graphic. Cool.
I've never heard about this one. What's going on with this game?
Yeah, so this one here is a PlayStation 4 and PC exclusive. For now, from what they're saying right now, the first release from the new outfit Foam Sword Games carries high expectations. It's been created by team members with a history at Media Molecule, and the game's vivid art style shows those roots. It's a puzzle adventure set in a childlike world reminiscent of the Goonies.
Oh, there you go. Well, right now, I mean, with stuff like Stranger Things, like being the hots and yeah, I mean, I think that's right up that alley.
Yeah.
It's cool if they're like kind of not going so much with like the horror theme stuff, but more like you said, like almost like fantasy, like LARPing and stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, one thing I have to say is, man, I know you're all about logos, man, but yeah, how the D is like half of a wheel. Like that's kind of cool, man. These guys got some real cool imagery, man.
Yeah,
that's pretty
their
cool.
style's really on point. I dig it.
Oh, awesome.
All right, next up we got The Last of Us Part 2.
Oh man, I know you PlayStation players are just chomping at the bit to get into this one.
I don't know anything about it.
Well, of course, like from a bird's eye view, you'd be like, oh, it's another like zombie survival kind of thing and this and that. But, I from what I've heard, the first game is like just fantastic.
Yeah.
The story is really what gets you. And I don't know if it's like a choice kind of thing. Maybe you guys could tell us a little more in the comments. But man, I know at like E3, even though I don't own a PlayStation, like I watched their thing just to see what they had coming. And man, when this showed up, they had like guys in like zombie bags like hanging and swinging around. I mean, they were really into it. And people were just going nuts for it. So I know this is very high on the PlayStation list.
Well, I'll read the blurb. It says, set 5 years after the original, this post-apocalyptic combat adventure is played through Ellie, a character who was originally only a sidekick.
Oh,
With anticipation for this title so high, developer Naughty Dog hasn't revealed much about the game, but we can't expect it to be good-looking and extremely violent. So
there you go.
Two good things.
Hey, Jake H is in the house. Good old Jake, man.
What's up?
Our old MegaCon buddy. Awesome, man. How's it going, man? And definitely, Bree, we agree with you. We think the Xbox is better. But that's, we have love for everything around here. It's the power hour of love.
Absolutely. We got plenty to go around. One thing I have to say I really like about this title, though, is the title. That they called it The Last of Us Part 2. And that kind of threw me off at first. I was like, why do they call it Part 2? That's so like, passe or blasé or whatever they call that.
Yeah.
Passe, I think is, I don't know, whatever. It's old school. But I saw that and then I was thinking, well, if they just called it The Last of Us 2, people would think it was like The Last of Us 2.
Yeah.
And then that was it.
That's a good point.
It was a pretty smart move on their part, I think.
Or it could have had like a little subtitle or something. But that's cool. Like you said, it's kind of like an old zombie movie.
Yeah. So we're getting down to wrapping up the first 25. Then we're going to jump into a break of PoDunk news. We're trying to slam through these. I think it's taken way even longer than we thought. But we're going to keep rocking with it. Let's see what we got.
Absolutely.
Next up, we got Left Alive.
Okay, now I think this is kind of in that same realm, right? As far as zombies go and stuff like that.
Well, I know it's a Square Enix shooter, right?
Okay.
And it's made by former Metal Gear character designer Yoji Shinkawa.
Okay.
So it seems like they've showed limited gameplay so far in trailers and stuff, but Konami's series is a definite influence.
Awesome. Okay.
With the game set in the Front Mission universe, there's a hint of stealth action as players try to take down giant mechs.
Hey, there you go. Well, that's always a big thing right now. You know, I mean, of course, you see these movies coming out like Pacific Rim, and I mean, it's monsters and mechs, but even like Anthem, like we were saying earlier. So definitely, yeah, man, this sounds like right up in that same alley.
Absolutely, man. All right. Next up, we got Mech Warrior 5. Just talking about mechs, Mech Warrior 5. You've had 4 chances to figure out what it is. In the interest of moving on, let's just jump past Mech Warrior. You know it. You know Mech Warrior 5. We don't need to tell you about it.
Oh, man, I know I'm looking forward to this one. Just real quick, man. We know last year was the Blue Bombers' 30th anniversary. So, yeah, definitely this year we're expecting Mega Man 11. Now, one thing I do like, even though this is a numeric series, they're not going back to, like, the pure 8-bit. Like, it's going to have some more, newer age platforming kind of stuff, almost like in like the Cuphead kind of level of platforming. So like I said, I think it looks really cool. I can't wait to play it. I love the ones, like 9 and 10 went back to the old school style, but this is kind of cool because it's going to mash together all those things. So definitely looking forward to Mega Man 11.
I know, right? I'm looking forward to Mega Man 11. The best thing I could say right now about Mega Man is that, man, not knowing about half these games make me feel about as useless as Bubble Man.
Useless as Bubble Man. I love it.
But all right, that is going to wrap it up for our first 25 games. That's right. We just did 25 games in 25 minutes for you guys. We got 25 more coming up. So I guess we're going to have an extra long, extra special episode of the Power Hour tonight.
You know it, man. But we got tons of good stuff, man. Stick with us.
Much good stuff. We're going to jump into a break right now and do some news. And right after that, we're going to release and talk about our first contender for the Infinity War Countdown.
Oh, yeah. You Marvel fans, stick around. It's going to be awesome.
You know it. All right. Right now, though, we're going to jump into some news.
PoDunk News.
Bam! Look at that. All right, we're back. Sorry
about that, guys. Definitely, man. Here we are. And definitely thank you guys for hitting us up in the comments here, man. We were just rambling on, man. Well, as we were saying...
No, start over. Just start the story over. I don't think we had any sound from the beginning of jumping into the newsroom.
All right, can you guys hear us now? Everybody got some got the sound. All right. Well, all right, man. Well, this PoDunk News is where we talk about the crazy stories that are going on, man. These are all factual stuff, man, but they're just nuts, man. All right. Well, here we have a British butcher who got trapped in a -4 degrees freezer.
Yeah.
So yeah, he went in there to get something, and then pretty much he couldn't get out. So what he did is he used a frozen pack of sausages to burst his way out of that frozen freezer there. So, but he's quoted as saying that blood pudding saved his life. So that's kind of cool, man. And hey, we don't know about you guys, but we think Walter White here might be hiding out over there in England now. So definitely, once again, thanks guys for keeping us on track here.
Absolutely, man. Well, it's good to see this guy saved himself, man, because you could certainly die in a -4 degree freezer. That'd freaking kill you being there overnight. But hey, I've always said sometimes the best solution is just to hammer it with your sausage.
There you go, man. So what's next in the world of PoDunk?
Let's see what we get. Boo, 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 boo. Go do things that I wish for you to do. News.
There we go. There you go. Well, this story will just blow you away. We all know recently the major blizzard kind of blew through New England, causing all kinds of snow and wind.
Yeah,
and
it's been a cold winter, man.
You know it, man. Even down here in Florida, man. This has been very different.
It was cold today. It was what, like 68?
It was.
Forget about it.
Well, a historic shed in Maine, like a tool shed or just this old building, was blown away by the recent blizzard, and it landed in Canada.
Yeah.
All right. So Maine senator says that he wants the shed back and it will be repaired. And since it's on the historic registry, so definitely, people are they want their shed back, but hey, at least it's still partially together. Now the photo we do have here is actually the shed. So that's on the coast of Canada.
Yeah, that last guy was not, in fact, the butcher from the story.
He
wasn't a guy carving peppermint either. That's what it looked like to me.
Absolutely.
So much red and white in that photo, but man. This is the real shed. Yes. Can you believe that just landed just like that?
Hey, at least it's still kind of together.
They don't make them like they used to. That's why this is part of the historic thing.
So let's see what's next on PoDunk News.
All right, last but not least.
Okay. A Rhode Island rapper named Montana Mills was recently arrested on drug charges. Now, we're not saying that,
how's this newsworthy?
Okay.
Now, like all the time.
Now, here's the real wild part.
Okay.
The police attribute their sting operation on Mills due to hearing his local hit, Sell Drugs. That was the name of the song.
Yeah.
So I guess, that gave them enough.
Yeah, little on the nose. Little on the nose. So you're just giving yourself probable cause right there.
And this is Montana Mills here. So, I mean, you might want to go check out the song maybe. I guess he's going to need some money now. But definitely, just in the world of music, just wanted to kind of say, we're definitely very sad to hear that the lead singer of the Cranberries passed away earlier today. She had the Cranberries from the 90s, Zombie and all those other tracks. I don't know all the specifics. I think they're still trying to figure out. That's really much like latest news as far as today's goes, but definitely sad to hear. I know she was only 46.
Yeah, that came in kind of last minute, so we didn't have time to grab a graphic for it, but our hearts go out to her friends and family survived by her, and wish you guys the best.
Absolutely, man. But hey, that's going to about wrap it up for our first segment of PoDunk News. But man, now we're jumping back into some more fun, man. Keep hitting us up in the comments, guys. It's going to be awesome.
All right.
All right, man, we're back here in the newsroom, man. It looks like we got our sound, man. Once again, man, thank you guys for keeping an eye out for us, man. You guys rock. And, man, now what are we doing, El Bandito?
Well, we have got a special fun segment coming up right now because it is our countdown to Infinity War. That's right, guys. May of this year, it's coming out. Man, the kind of legendary end-all, be-all sort of movie of movies that we always wanted to see as comic book fans. I mean, when you were a kid, they had so much great comic book stories out there. It was like inconceivable to ever think you'd see something on the scale of Thanos fighting the whole of the Marvel universe.
Oh yeah, man. And I mean that, we've been talking about, Infinity Stones for the last like 15 movies, at least to some degree. I know they didn't really get their name until later, but when you trace them back, but man, now that you see them in the trailer, or Thanos has the gauntlet and he's loading the stones in there, man. If you guys aren't as familiar with it, man, if Thanos gets all those stones, man, he pretty much can like bend time and space. So it's going to be pretty awesome.
Absolutely. See, it's considered that the 6 Infinity Stones were 6 singularities that were hanging around even before the Big Bang happened, and that they're the 6 elements that control the entirety of the universe. So the person to wield all 6 of them can bend space and time to their very whim, just like you said. But don't worry, guys. We've got a pack of Avengers right here on Earth that are definitely going to kick some Thanosian butt.
Oh, absolutely, man. And who are we talking about tonight?
All right. Well, tonight we figured we were going to start things off by talking about our first Avenger, the first Avenger, man. We were going to talk about Captain America.
Oh, you know it, man. Absolutely, man. Definitely, it's like whenever you think about the Avengers, I don't know about you guys, definitely go ahead and throw your favorite Avenger into the comments, man. Let us know what you guys think. But, man, Cap comes immediately to mind, man. I mean, he is just like, I don't want to say he's the real American hero, but he, you know what I mean? He's like, he definitely, he embodies that, man. I mean, he wears, the colors on his chest. He's Captain America.
Absolutely, dude. And he's one of those characters that I have a lot of esteem for in the sense that, like, they didn't water him down to be like, oh, let's, make him Captain Planet so that, he sells better in an international market. No, they were like, dude, Captain America. They didn't tone down his colors and, make them all sissified like they do with some other superheroes that they don't want to personify American values with so much.
Oh, definitely, man. Well, hey, looking at our notes here, man, it looks like we got some history for some of our folks that aren't as familiar with where Cap came from.
We're going to tell you all about the history of Captain America going back to 1940. Right, December 20th, 1940, this issue premiered Captain America #1 with the creation of Captain America. Now, very, very important is that he came out in Captain America #1. Very few heroes ever were featured in their own self-titled comic right off the bat. Most characters come out in anthologies first, tales of suspense, tales of mystery, amazing fantasy, something like this, and then due to their popularity may get their own title. But at the time, if you think about it, December 20th, 1940, America had not yet joined World War II.
Oh, yeah.
So Captain America creators Joe Simon and Jack Kirby featured here. That's Jack Kirby on the left, he's seated, Joe Simon, the writer, standing over him, and the two of them worked at Timely Comics at the time, was the name of the company.
Yeah, the company.
And they decided that even though the U.S. had not yet joined the war, because they wouldn't until Pearl Harbor in 41, December of 41, so about a year later, they figured that they needed to embody what they felt was the American intervention that they believed was right. So, I mean, talk about really coming up with a character for the right reasons.
Yeah. And I just have to say one thing, like in every picture I've ever seen of Jack Kirby, man, that guy is always
working. He's working.
Like there's always somebody standing over him, and Jack's just like drawing his ass
Dude,
off.
he's like the Geordie LaForge of the comic world. He's just always working, and it's never good enough.
It's never
always
good
like,
enough.
We got more deadlines. You know? Yeah, there's actually a funny story where Joe Simon didn't think Jack Kirby would be able to make the deadline for the book because it's labeled as March of 1941 because they wanted it to come out, a little later. And Joe Simon hired 2 other fill-in writers to help Jack Kirby do the book. And Jack Kirby was so offended by the fact that he thought he couldn't do it that he did the whole book in record time, did all the pencils and everything himself. So the 2 worked together to kind of come up with the idea for the character of Captain America. And they featured him in his first book where the cover, as you could see, had him punching out Adolf Hitler.
Classic. And I mean, anyone who's seen the First Avenger knows that when Steve Rogers is doing, what is it, like a show?
The bonds, he's selling war bonds.
Yeah, and he punches out Hitler in that. So it's definitely a homage to this this comic. But man, classic.
Yeah,
man, classic.
So this book in 1940 sold nearly 1 million copies.
Now that's the fact that it had 1 million copies printed at the time. I'm sure it was also a big milestone.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think they were cranking them out on demand,
Absolutely.
But yeah, what an amazing first issue to have. And I have to say, I learned something new I wanted to share with you guys. Check this out. This is May. Issue 3 had this blurb in it, right, of Captain America versus the Traitor's Revenge.
Okay.
Right. Now, what this is back in the day, to be labeled as a magazine, you had to have so many words in your book. So what they did was they wrote fill-in stories. It was like a 2-page story that was all text, like a book. And that would classify your comic book as a magazine, and then the post office would charge you less to ship it.
Oh, okay. Wow.
So they would hire people to come in and fill in these little stories. Now, some of you guys might notice the little by caption right down here, but the number 3 May 1941 issue of Captain America, the 2-page text story, was given to the office apprentice and kind of errand boy, who was a 19-year-old guy by the name of Stan Lee.
Oh, we're sure you guys know about good old Stan.
Absolutely. The guy who pretty much goes on to found the entirety of the rest of the Marvel Universe. He's pictured here in 1940, or somewhere around that era. I don't know when exactly that photo was taken.
Young Stan.
Yeah. And then here, him kind of a more recent photo. But yeah, so really great to find out that Cap worked on the original, or that Stan worked on the original Cap books, even as far back as Captain America number 3 in 1940.
Wow.
That is wild,
Hey, down here, Bobby C says that everyone once in their life should at least punch a Nazi in the face. So, absolutely,
no doubt.
Cap would agree.
Absolutely, man. Well, Cap's original book ran for 73 issues, ending finally in 1941, 4 years after the war ended.
There you go. Look at that.
So it really ran its course.
Very patriotic time for the country.
Absolutely. And, then just kind of the war books got out of vogue. They weren't as popular anymore, and it kind of fell to the wayside, Jump ahead about 20 years. And you're looking at Stan Lee and Jack Kirby as the editor-in-chief and, master artist of the now Marvel Comics, branded under the Fantastic Four and kind of all of the success that title had.
Oh, absolutely, man. Because you think, in the 1950s, like you were saying, those pulp magazines and horror stories and mysteries, they kind of dominated. I mean, you still had Batman and DC stuff going on, but man, yeah, like you said, in the early 60s, like you said, Stan Lee and Jack Kirby and all those guys were like, man, we really want to take these stories to the next level, And of course, with the comic code and everything kind of coming out, they were like, let's go rock it, man. So they started up Marvel.
Absolutely, man. And then with one of their more popular books that had just come out there in 1963, The Avengers, they were like, you know what? We really want to cram this filled with as many awesome superheroes as we can. And the duo of Stan Lee and Jack Kirby decided to revive their longtime favorite, Captain America, as not just a Nazi puncher or a commie smasher, but an all-around superhero and foiler of evildoers everywhere.
Oh, yeah. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the first issue of Avengers is actually them going to find Cap, right?
It's actually issue number 4.
Oh, it is? Okay.
Yeah, it's the one we've got here, but it's issue number 4, and he's actually alongside Iron Man, Thor, Giant Man, who's Ant-Man but big,
Yeah.
and the Wasp. And Cap is actually replacing the Hulk, who they found too tumultuous to be part of the team.
Well, the Hulk, he's very,
Yeah, kind of does his own thing. Hulk smash.
Absolutely.
But yeah, so that's what got him into the modern day Silver Age comics, and from then on, Cap was pretty much the leader of the team. Even though Iron Man had kind of founded it 3 issues earlier, Cap was very much the leader, being kind of the tactician and wartime expert that he was. This original comic in 1963, The Avengers #4, featured the story of Cap in a drone plane, crashing in the Arctic, being frozen in ice, suspended in animation, and being awoken today. A story that may sound very familiar if you saw the First Avenger, Captain America.
Yeah, that's one thing I gotta say about the MCU, man. Of course, they adjust some of the story elements, to speed things up a little bit. But yeah, man, like they've done a great job taking Captain America's history and bringing it to the screen.
Absolutely, yeah. Pretty much all the characters, I'm super impressed by how they always kind of match up to their original story, with only minor tweaks, kind of advancing the character through time, making it a little more modern day. But we'll tell you a little bit about Captain America, the First Avenger, right? This movie was released in July of 2011.
Oh, yeah.
Just 1 year before the Avengers came out.
That's right.
So pretty awesome. On Rotten Tomatoes, it currently has a score of 80%.
Pretty awesome.
Which I think is wicked underrated, but whatever.
Hey, we'll have to have our own episode just about Rotten Tomatoes sometime.
But to me, why Captain America, the First Avenger as a film kicked ass was because it embodied everything I knew about Captain America. As a longtime comic book fan and a lover of Captain America, there's a lot of concepts in my head that really make Cap. But I had a few very specific kind of almost silly details that to me would be like, if you were only ever going to make one Captain America movie, I'd want to see these things in it. So I'm going to tell you guys just real quick a couple of what these little things were. First off, it had to be an homage to the 40s. It had to kind of... It had to tell that World War II story.
Where it was born.
Without it, you were missing so much of what made Captain America Captain America. So essentially, the whole movie is set in the 1940s and is the perfect homage. It's basically the whole film's done that way. And secondly, they would have to have some of these iconic characters like Bucky, Dr. Erskine, the Red Skull, the Howling Commandos. These were all characters that were like, dude, in the movie. Bam, right there. And they decided we'll go one step further. We'll make Bucky super kick-ass, which, let's face it, he never really was in the original comic.
This is true.
They're going to throw Howard Stark in there, so Tony Stark's dad, to be a genius inventor.
Tying it all together.
Super cool. And they threw Tommy Lee Jones in there as a general they kind of created for the film, or excuse me, a colonel they created for the film, who is just awesome.
Oh, you know it, man. No, yeah, exactly. It was fun. I remember when he was pitched as being in the film, I was like, oh, man, I wonder if he's going to be the Red Skull. Yeah. And then, like you said, he was like the general, which was a great role.
Yeah, he was so great. But speaking of which, we got the Howling Commandos as the rest of the U.S., military guys that he hooks up with, and some guys from France and everything, because you remember he rescues them from a thing?
Yes.
And it's all sort of allied soldiers, I guess is the word I'm looking for. Trip's dad's there. Rest in peace, Triplet, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. It's his granddad.
Good. Tying it together. Oh, man, real quick, just want to say, what's up, Robert? What's up, Rich? What's up, Don? These guys are all jumping in, tuning in, definitely talking here on the Power Hour of Love, talking about Captain America, man. We love it, man. Rich is asking if this is the couch auction. Well, man, if you're looking for a Captain America couch, we might just have one for you.
No doubt, man. We'll get you a nice red leather one to go with the Red Skull.
Oh, you know
played by Hugo Weaving. He was absolutely fantastic in the movie. Dr. Zola being a villain who would later go on to be the kind of robot-y android Dr. Zola in The Winter Soldier. Super awesome cast, super awesome characters. Really brought the original story to life. One of the things to me was he had to punch Hitler in the face.
Oh, yeah.
And guess what? He punches Hitler in the freaking face.
A couple
times.
Not once,
not twice, but a couple of times. Absolutely, man. Because like the first 2 issues of the original Captain America books are him punching out Hitler in both issues,
Oh, yeah, man.
But him with the dancing girls in his original costume, with the original shield that he only used in Captain America #1, and then it was changed in the very second issue to the round shield. The third issue that Stan Lee contributed on actually first features him using the shield as a ricochet weapon that returns. So really cool that they nailed this character right out of the gate, you know? Because to me, his shield ricocheting had to be in the movie, man.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, that's what he's known for.
Yeah, he's throwing that thing all over Nazi and, Hydra bases all over Germany and Europe.
Well, definitely.
So loved that part of the film.
I know you're going down your list of things, but man, even his origin in the movie was very, very similar to how it was in the
Absolutely.
comics. So that was great.
Yeah, they kind of fleshed it out a little more with the Vita Ray chamber and the Vita Rays and stuff like that. But yeah, absolutely, very similar with Dr. Erskine being in the film. It played out almost exactly like it did in the comics, which I loved. Last but not least on my highlight list was the shield bash, dude. Just taking your shield and ramming the shit out of somebody with it. And again, he does it a number of times, and one time even launches a dude into the air doing it. So
it's so awesome.
Yeah, man. Those are the very comic booky moments that to me make the film look like a comic. And that's what I wanted to see when I went to see the film. And then you're pleasantly surprised by all the other aspects of it that are just so very good.
And one thing I have to say is definitely, just Red Skull being a really good villain.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not trying to spoil anything for anyone who hasn't gotten caught up yet, but I mean, we haven't seen him since. But man, I hope at some point he pops back up. We're definitely talking about the First Avenger, not to be confused with the 1989 Captain America movie. I don't remember who played Cap in that, but I mean, even then, I have watched that, and they did stick very close to the origins. It just didn't have the flair that the new movie had.
Absolutely, man. Well, Cap has since gone on to be from his little spangly circus outfit there all the way up to his most recent Civil War outfit here. I mean, I just wanted to say this dude always looks fly. For as kind of circus clowny as his outfit can look in comics sometimes, boy, the movie costume designers did such an excellent job to really give him such a badass look. I mean, to where Winter Soldier, I think, is one of the most highly rated costumes yet. The almost all blue one with the white lines, and people love that.
Oh, Winter Soldier was just a phenomenal movie.
Absolutely.
I mean, like we say, I know it's one of the highest rated Marvel movies and stuff, and even folks that aren't really big comic fans kind of rate it as just one of those films that are just
it's just solid.
It's great.
Yeah. So, moving on from the First Avenger, we can see the litany of films that Captain America has been featured in since. The Avengers, of course, the Winter Soldier, Age of Ultron, and then Civil War. He's also done cameos in Thor: The Dark World, where Loki kind of pretends to be Captain America for a second.
Yeah, that was so cool.
Yeah, and then in Spider-Man Homecoming, where he does lectures for kids and stuff on video.
That's true. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Oh, Don Fox here is jumping in me saying he's always loved Cap, his favorite, and definitely he was a fan of the Shield Bash as well. So.
Absolutely, very cool, Don. Thanks. Well, the role that he played in all of these films also gave him a lot of character development, where he really tried to fit in this new world, which was something a lot of people were afraid they would kind of just gloss over in the films, where it's now he's in today and he's good to go. But they kind of give him not only this displaced in time sort of attitude, but he also very much has a sort of PTSD attitude of if he's not fighting in the shit, he's almost lost in those thoughts of that memory. I mean, they show him punching the punching bag where he's just lost in it, and he can't escape it now. The guy has become a soldier, and that's all he knows how to be now. And he needs to find a new place in his life now, and it's becoming more and more difficult as you go along, especially when you lead into Civil War, where now he's now I have to be a soldier against my own people.
Oh, yeah. Well, even one of those lines from the movie, I think it was the Avengers. Remember when he's they say a joke, and he's I get that one.
Yeah,
and he's
got that reference.
Yeah.
No doubt, yeah. But with the inclusion of the Winter Soldier, which was a relatively new comic book story, only came out in 2005, and they put it in the movie that only came out a few years ago. But the story's so great with Bucky coming back as the Winter Soldier, giving Cap that dynamic to have with Bucky that I know so many kind of fangirls love out there. I know if Kelly Jade's still hanging around, I know she's going to be blowing that up in 2 seconds.
She's definitely thrown on there. She says that Cap is her favorite, but Bucky in little parentheses. So
But also, too, him bringing to the table Falcon and so much with Romanoff, the Black Widow in The Winter Soldier and Civil War. He's helping develop all of these characters as he goes along the way. And I just think for a character who a lot of the time in comics is ignored as kind of the Superman equivalent of too perfect to tell a decent story. The MCU is just getting this absolutely right and showing you how human Captain America really is.
And like you said, if they would have rushed through it, it would have been sloppy. And DC here says that he loves that Cap's learning movie references. That's a hilarious aspect to and I absolutely agree that it's fun that they're taking their time and like we're really seeing him grow into our world, not just like you said in a movie. He's like, okay, I'm good with this. He's still getting used to it.
Now, one thing I know is in the Winter Soldier, they showed this dude why he was the first Avenger. I mean, this one shot here where he just wrecked this like elevator full of highly trained S.H.I.E.L.D. agents was just an amazing scene, and they did everything to really capture that this guy is not only in peak physical condition, but he's a master tactician, and is just a beast mode.
Absolutely, man. So cool. So cool.
All right, but where does the future lead for Cap now that he is a vigilante?
Oh, yeah. If you guys aren't caught up yet, you might want to close your ears. But, yeah, man, Civil War definitely changed the
landscape.
Yeah, the landscape for what's going on. So, yeah, what's happening here, man?
Well, here we've got two kind of fan theories on where Cap goes from here. Basically, throughout history, Cap has run into a few instances in comics where he's had to kind of put down the mantle of Captain America. First off, on the left, is that my right? I don't know. I can't tell if it's backwards. I'm looking at it. The guy in the yellow, right? Both of these are Steve Rogers, right? Both of them are Captain America at different periods of his life. In yellow there, he calls himself Nomad, and he travels the land, kind of just fighting and doing his thing, but without the affiliation of any sort of team or government or anything. He just wanted to give all that up, and in a lot of ways, that's kind of where he's at. And I know Charboil's been mentioning a few times that he thinks that's where the character's kind of leading.
Yeah. It looks like even here in our comments, people are saying Nomad, so it seems like a lot of people think that that's fallen. But continue, man. This is really cool.
Oh, no problem. I have a little bit of a different theory because most people would think that this character is the U.S. agent, right? But originally, he was simply called the Captain.
Oh,
right?
Okay.
And was Steve Rogers when the guy who becomes U.S. agent took the mantle of Captain America, because basically Cap is Nomad, and then they're like, well, we need a Captain America, so they just suit up some other Joker, and then Cap's like, all right, well, whatever, I'm still going to rock my Captain outfit, and just be the Captain then, since there is a Captain America, and people won't get him confused. Kind of looks like you'd get him confused, but you see what I'm driving at.
What do you guys think? Do you think it's Nomad? Do you think it's the Captain?
Well, the one thing that really makes me think it might go full on the Captain here is because he has an adamantium shield that he gets made for him to replace his vibranium shield, which he wasn't allowed to keep.
Oh, man. When you think about this New Deal...
Yeah.
Get this man a shield. I mean, I don't know if I'm jumping ahead of you here. So
but again, he's in Wakanda. I'm pretty sure he can get him another vibranium shield.
That's true. That's true. But yeah,
I think the inclination may be the same of more if he's just the Captain, instead of Captain America.
I mean, I think the whole thing of calling him Nomad would confuse a lot of people. Yeah. I mean, one thing, while, like we said, Marvel's had the liberty of like keeping a lot of their stuff the same, at the same time, when you look at the Civil War story and what we got, I mean, I love the movie, don't get me wrong, but I mean, of course, it's, it really does kind of streamline it,
Yes.
So it's like, I'm sure the same thing here, while maybe they'll just leave it Steve Rogers. And some people will think it's the Captain. Some people will think it's Nomad. It'll be a choose your own adventure.
Yeah, they don't really need to brand him and sell a toy at this point, so it's fine. But yeah, it's interesting to see in what sense of the mythos of the original history the character falls into, simply because, like we've said, so many elements of these films are so in line with what happened in comics, and it's funny how these are almost working backwards, with like Civil War, Winter Soldier, now you're going back to like the 70s, 80s with your Nomad the Captain stories, so it's pretty wild. But that's pretty much going to get us back up to where Cap is at now, where his role is a little bit ambiguous, but we can tell he's leading a team. He's leading a group of guys out there. He's fighting with the Wakandan army, with the Hulk is with them, Bucky's with them, Natasha's with them, Falcon's with them, even War Machine was with him. So who knows what's going on out there, but apparently he's going to have a major, major role to play in Infinity War, and I can't wait to see what it is, regardless of what he suits up as.
Oh, absolutely, man. So let's see what else is going on here.
All right. Well, last but not least, we're going to go with our power rating, right? We want to find out how he stacks up as one of the top 6 Avengers of all time of the Power Hour of Love's official Avenger rating. So we're going to do this in a 6-part rating system that you guys are going to have to help us with. All right.
Oh,
so
yeah.
we're gonna fill in the blanks on most of them, but we need a little bit of help here at the end. So stick around and give us a hand, okay?
Oh, absolutely, man. We definitely got a lot of viewers here, man. Everyone seems to really be digging. Oh, we see Justin Cage join the party, man.
Awesome.
We've been jumping in for a while, man. Sorry, we've been just covering Cap, man, but it seems like he's digging it, man. He's talking
Nice.
about Ant-Man and stuff, man. So let's see what's going on here, El Bandito.
All right. Well, first up, we have our first category is powers and abilities, right? Now, Cap has a medley of powers and abilities, a lot of which people don't even really talk about. First and foremost is obviously his enhanced physique. You know, his stamina, his super strength, his agility, his above average healing, because he obviously can take some hits and keep on moving. You know, so his enhanced physique, I would say, is a super boon for him. What do you think?
Oh, absolutely, man.
Are you just loving that picture? You're like just smiling at Cap there. You're like, oh.
Oh man, no, I'm just thinking about some stuff as we go through Cap's just strengths. You know?
Yeah. Well, next up, he's the master tactician and combatant extraordinaire, man. I mean, you always see him on the field, on the team, leading the charge, calling out the shots. You know, in the all the different films. You know, he's always taking charge, and people trust his tactical skills, you know, his layout, his assessment of the battlefield. He obviously has some sort of correlation between his expertise in combat for all the years he spent in war, and something to do with his enhanced physique, really giving him the ability to read a situation very, very quickly, much, much faster than I think an average man would. I would like to just real quick, this is my favorite film Captain America outfit. This is what he wore in Age of Ultron.
Okay.
I love that extra little red. Just think it works. Loved it.
Kelly Jade said here that in that last pick, you know, that we were just looking at, that Agent Carter was like, let me tap that. I think even when Agent Carter like met him later on, like after he got unfrozen, she was probably still like, let me tap that.
It'd be what a way to go.
Maybe that's, oh, never mind. I'm not going to go there.
All right. A lot of people don't realize he's also an amazing sketch artist.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Now, this could have been an ability he had before he became Captain America, but he certainly had it after. You know, in this shot from the movie, he's drawing himself as a dancing monkey because he's upset with just selling war bonds. He thinks he could be out, you know, in the war actually helping out, which is what he eventually does. You know, he goes for it. But in this scene, they show what an amazing artist he is. And I did some research on this, and it turns out that canonically within the comics, he is a fabulous artist.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that was actually like one of his skill sets.
Yeah. Now get this. They speculate, you know, the general consensus is that he's that way because the writers and creators of the comic book, again, they envisioned this guy as what they felt they would do if they had the opportunity. You know, like they wanted the U.S. to go over and stop the Blitzkrieg on London and, you know, stop all the oppression that the Nazis were doing. So this is them. They drew an embodiment of themselves getting the serum, going and kicking butt. And that's why he's such a good artist, you know?
That's pretty awesome, man.
Yeah.
And that, like I said, it's cool that there's some actual comic-related ties to that.
Yeah.
So, definitely cool.
All right, and last but not least, Cap is more than what came out of a bottle, man. It's one of the best lines in the Avengers when Tony tells him, he's like, well, be a hero? Like you, Cap, you're no hero. You know, you're a lab rat, Rogers.
Yeah, that definitely...
everything special about you came out of a bottle.
Oh, like right here, DC's saying, you know, Cap might be the leader, but Thor's a god. So, I mean, you know, definitely kind of in that same ballpark, you know.
Absolutely.
It's like, you know, it's definitely, but that's the thing. I think what's cool about the Avengers is they all bring their skill sets to the table.
Yeah, but also, too, like, he really goes so much more beyond it. And Tony, having only met this guy for a few days, didn't really understand it. You know, he was kind of looking at it through the rose-colored glasses of his father's eyes when his dad really knew the man, you know. And when you go back and you look at the Captain America films, whether it be Winter Soldier, Civil War, or the First Avenger, he's a good man trying to look out for people, you know. He's like, I don't like bullies. I don't want to go kill Nazis. I want to stop bullies from hurting other people, you know. Then he goes on to the Winter Soldier, where he's like, why are we spying on people? Why are we invading people's privacy in their homes? And he's standing up for people's personal liberties. Then you go on to Civil War, same token. Now we're registering and restraining people. We've got Wanda imprisoned in the Avengers complex. Like, I'm not going to stand for that. He looks out for other people because of the goodness of who he is, which is one of the things Dr. Erskine told him to do. No matter what you do, be a good man.
Absolutely, man. Well, definitely, we've definitely attributed that Cap's strengths are definitely high up there. I mean, definitely, like I said, even from the moral standpoint, just like he's definitely that driving it home. He's on. I don't want to say he's as like when you look at Superman, it's like always that good. Like, I mean, he definitely has, but he's in that same realm where it's just like. Just hard to find like flaws with Cap,
Absolutely, man. So we gave our rating for his power and abilities at an 8 out of 10. So pretty good.
Absolutely.
All right, next up, we're going to judge the role in the battle for New York, right? Now, this is the iconic battle that kind of kicked off the whole Infinity War, because obviously that's Thanos' army, led by Loki, that came to Earth in the original Avengers.
The Chitauri or Chitauri? Chitauri, that's
yeah.
The Chitaurians?
Yeah.
That's what I was calling. Get those Chitauris out of here.
But yeah, those guys were definitely pretty gnarly. They came to Earth. It was the big battle that debuted the Avengers. It's what the Avengers Initiative was kind of put together for. It's what Phil Coulson gave it all for, man. But what was Cap's role in the battle for New York? Now, I have to say we gave him a 6, right? Now, you may be thinking that might seem a little low, but let's keep in mind he was on the ground and he was saving lives. He was saving people. I mean, nothing could be a more important job than that. But by the same token, Tony took the atom bomb out of there.
Yeah, no, that's true. Yeah.
Hulk was dropping the great big giant monsters. Thor stopped Loki, Yeah. So while Cap absolutely coordinated everything on the ground and probably saved an innumerable amount of people all on his own, and with his tactical skills of being able to contain the battle and everything like that, a lot of that may have played out okay if the other Avengers or someone else had taken up the mantle in his stead. But I still am going to say that at a rating of 6, he was very crucial to saving the day there.
Sure.
All right. Thanks for the contribution. All right. Now we're up to the Assemble score, man. Now this is one I thought would be a lot of fun because it's who they bring to the table. So who does Captain America bring to the table? Who do you think of when you think of Captain America?
Oh man, well, like you said, Bucky. He definitely always a classic sidekick. And like you said, I think the Marvel universe where they keep a lot of stuff to the comics, I think doing what they did with Bucky was a smart move.
Yeah.
I think the age of like the young Ward kind of sidekick kind of thing is kind of it's definitely drying up. I mean, when you see like in certain movies like Batman, even in the 90s, Dick Grayson really wasn't a kid. I mean, he was like a teenager, young adult, but he wasn't like a child. So I think what they did updating him to where he is, I think has worked out perfectly, especially with their plans for the later movies. So
absolutely, yeah. So definitely, he brings Bucky to the table. He's also bringing Falcon to the group.
Oh yeah,
which is a huge commodity. I know he's got Sharon Carter on his side.
Sure.
Agent 13. Famous comic book. Niece of Peggy Carter. From back in the day. But most notably to me, like one of I think the biggest boons that they're kind of just releasing is that he's really roping Black Panther into the Avengers here.
Sure. I mean, when you look at Black Panther's role in the other movie, and of course we have that exciting Black Panther movie coming up next month. I can't wait for that. And but yeah, definitely, he kind of was that that middleman to say, hey, I mean, of course, Black Panther was trying to get him.
Yeah.
But it was towards the end there, it seems like that's where it's gonna all kind of pull together.
Absolutely, they worked things out and they're getting together to go battle Thanos in the Infinity War now. So he's bringing all those people to the table. So we're giving him a solid 5 on the side of the heroes. On the villain side, he's brought Dr. Zola. He's brought Baron Zemo. He's brought the Red Skull. Now, one of my favorite theories is that the Red Skull may return with Thanos.
Yeah,
right?
That would be pretty cool.
Because the Tesseract kind of seemed like it beamed him out into outer space. He may be out there hanging out with Thanos' boys and stuff. I don't know. It'd be great to see him return with the Red Skull, especially Hugo Weaving, who just absolutely crushed the role.
That was great. I can't wait to see him back.
Yeah, and he was so good and so iconic in it. There's no way I couldn't give him 5 on the villains. But dude, Baron Zemo was so bad in Civil War, like so not like the comics at all.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry, I should have been rolling through some of these slides. So here we got Falcon, Bucky, Sharon Carter, and Black Panther. Here are all these guys here. Yeah, talk about them. But here's Zemo.
Yeah.
And here's how he looks in the comics. So super similar.
Definitely
right?
doesn't live up to the like.
So maybe he'll develop into something a little later. I don't know. But yeah, we're basically giving him a 9 out of 10 on that one. -1 point for crappy Baron Zemo. Didn't like that interpretation at all. All right, his straight up Avengers score.
Yeah. I think we, both we kind of talked about this before the show kicked off tonight, and it was like Cap is the Avengers.
Yeah.
I mean, they are all the Avengers, but
first,
yeah, I mean,
he's the first Avenger.
Yeah, I mean, so you got to get, I don't know, maybe, you guys can let us know in the comments what you guys think. Like, do you think, is there a higher rated event? Like just we're not saying if you like an Avenger better, but when you say the Avengers, who's the first guy you think?
Yeah, is there someone who embodies it more than Captain America? I think not.
I mean, even looking at that picture right there, Cap's in the middle. You see the shield.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe you can see Thor's hammer in there too, but yeah, you definitely see that shield.
Yeah, he's the quintessential Avenger, no doubt about it. Then we have our own personal scores. 10 out of 10. Cap is absolutely my favorite Avenger. I think he's amazing. I love everything he stands for. I think in a lot of ways, I definitely aspire to try to just be the kind of good person that he is. So love it. Loved him. 10 out of 10.
All right, I gave Cap an 8. I know, don't blow me up in the comments here. I mean, the thing is there's definitely a few Avengers that I do like better than Captain America. Like I said, I still definitely would say, if you're going to say Avengers, which, one embodies it, Cap all the way. But yeah, I do have some other favorite Avengers, but like El Bandito said at the beginning of the program, we're going to be doing this every month leading up to, the Infinity War, talking about a different Avenger. And man, yeah, you guys will find out in a future episode who's my favorite.
Absolutely. But like I said also earlier, we need your help to round out these scores. So we're going to give you guys the opportunity to vote in your very own category, the listener score, right? So what we want you guys to do is that we're going to attribute 1 point to every comment we get, whether it's here on Facebook or YouTube, where you say that you love Captain America. Now, again, you can love another Avenger, that's fine, but for every person who comments that they love something, blah, 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 if the word love and Captain America is in the comment, we're going to give Cap a point. Feel free to comment as many times as you like. Show your love for Captain America, man, and let us know that how you feel about him. If you want to vote 10 times, vote 10 times. You don't want to vote at all, don't vote at all. Save it for another Avenger. Vote for him 10 times, But this is where you can do your part to say that Cap is your number one Avenger, is your first Avenger.
Absolutely. I see Don Fox here is asking the big question, who's next? Well, man, not that we're going to still, we air every Monday night, so we're still going to have shows between now and then. But come February, you'll definitely find out who we're talking about next.
Absolutely, guys. But for right now, that's going to wrap it up for our Infinity War countdown. We're going to jump into our next set of PoDunk news.
Oh, yeah.
PoDunk news.
Oh, man, here we go for our second set of the night, man. We hope you guys are digging it, man. We say we're the Power Hour of Love, but it looks like tonight we're going for the Power 2 Hours of Love, because we got plenty of stuff still to share with you guys. Man, we're rocking it over here. We hope you guys are having fun. But here, now we're going to tell you about some of the crazy stories that are going on out in this PoDunk world.
Absolutely, man.
So starting it off here, man, this is a little bit of a sad story. We always like to try to kind of mix in some video game stuff, but man, this is kind of a nutty one as well.
Yeah.
Man, a California man has been arrested after he killed his mother, who he blamed that she broke his video game headset. Now, don't get me wrong. I mean, some of these wireless headsets are a couple $100, but it's your mother, dude. I mean, What are you thinking of, man? I mean, not to say, I mean, you can never really put a face on, a killer or someone that just loses their mind. But man, this guy, he looks like some dude we might hang out with, a fellow nerd or something like that. It just, come on, man, really, over a headset?
Apparently this is someone who has rage issues or rage control problems, man. It says he was 28 years old. His mother was 68. So, a bit of a bit of an age difference there, and where you could very easily hurt someone you didn't mean to. But man, you got to keep that shit in check. What are you doing? I mean, you're almost 30, dude. Get it together, bro.
And from the understanding through the article was he actually loaded up a gun and fired it at his mother.
No way.
So, I mean, it definitely wasn't a physical contact kind of thing.
Yeah, that changes things.
There was definitely a...
this guy's just a shitheel then.
Absolutely, man. And I mean, I'm sure there's going to be plenty of, people out there going to try to be like, oh, video games, they're responsible for violence and stuff. But no, like I said, sometimes mentally unstable people,
I know. I mean, like, there's a lot of times my mom comes in here and starts touching around the Power Hour junk and mess with it. She's, I'm going to clean it for you. And, I may beat her around a little. I don't kill her.
Man, we love you.
No, I don't beat my mom. I love you, Mom. I'm just clowning.
Well, here, let's get into a more happier story. This one's just bringing it down.
All right. Here's one more in tune with what we were just talking about. How about this, guys?
Go for it, man. You want to take this one?
Oh, sure. I'll let everybody know. So the Avengers 4 has completed its primary filming.
Oh, yeah.
So the Russo brothers, the directive team of brothers who are directing the film, they presented the crew with a giant celebration cake in the shape of Thanos. So it's, we got a kind of a small graphic here. It's such a tall cake. It was hard to get a good photo of it. But yeah, man, it's this very lifelike Thanos at the top. A galaxy on the bottom. It's two tiers where they're reaching up, and it looks like Black Widow's hand is holding up that second tier of cake.
I was wondering about that.
Yeah.
Like, what does this hand have to do? I was like, I wonder if this promotional footage is gonna give something away. But man, that cake looked phenomenal. It looked like came out of that a Cake Boss or whatever.
Yeah,
like, one out of his place. Man, it looks so cool, man. So on point. I'm sure you could sit there and be like, I want a piece of Thanos and break off the Infinity Gauntlet.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like Thanos himself is probably made out of modeling chocolate or something. So he's probably just a big solid block of carved chocolate. He's probably delish.
I'm sure, man. I wish they'd send us a piece,
Yeah, so I think it's probably the only time I've ever been like me a piece of that, Thanos.
Give me one of those Infinity Stones, please.
I know. I'm pretty sure a lot of Avengers are going to get a piece of Thanos' ass pretty soon, though.
Oh,
so.
you know it, man. You know it. Well, also during our PoDunk news segment, we also like to tell you guys about some of the awesome events that are coming around, man. Well, we're big fans of Morbid Movies, South Florida business, man. They love to bring classic horror movies back to the big screen for you guys. And, man, this month it's very special, man. We've got the 50th anniversary of Night of the Living Dead coming to you Friday, January 19th, so next Friday, man. It kicks off at 9:30. It's at the Movies of Lake Worth, man. Very nice movie theater. I mean, they got great snacks. It's only going to cost you $10 to get in there. Check out this classic film, man. They're coming for you, Martha. They're coming. Marsha, not Martha.
I think it's worth noting too. This is a special 4K remastered edition.
Yes.
So this thing is gonna look hot, man. If you never saw the original, go to see it. Morbid Movies is down in Lake Worth. Like we said, Friday, January 19th, 9:30 p.m. The first 100 people get a raffle ticket and a button for free, just for showing up. You pay your money and you get a raffle ticket, and you could win awesome prizes. I mean, these guys have great prizes down there. $10 to get in the door. You get your raffle ticket, your button, and you get to see this epic movie on the big screen.
Oh, absolutely, man. It's kind of cool after you go to a couple of the Morbid movie showings. You kind of get these collection of buttons and stuff. And, it's like a real cool just takeaway memento from the events. It's just something you get with your admission.
Absolutely, man.
So definitely support Morbid Movies. You can check them out here on Facebook. I don't know if they've announced any more movies, but man, they're going to keep it going, man. They've been running for like the last 2 or 3 years, so definitely big ups to them, man.
You know it. All right, that's going to about wrap it up for that segment of the news. Let's dive back into our last 25 games. Now that we're running a little long, we're probably going to power through them like crazy, but we still want to get you guys the info that you can only get here on the Power Hour of Love. Let's go check it out.
And we wanted to say thanks to you guys for staying up late with us, man. We still got an awesome number of guests here. Keep throwing some stuff in the comment, man, sharing it on your pages, man. We love you guys, man. We're loving that you're digging the video games. You're digging the Captain America talk, man. Like I said, but now, like El Bandito said, man, we're going to dive into those 25 other games that you guys should be paying attention to in 2018.
Absolutely, man. First up, we got Metal Gear Survive.
Oh, man, Metal Gear 5, The Phantom Pain was a huge game. Came out a few years ago now, man. Everyone really dug it. Now, I know this one really has a little bit of a side mark because it's like the first time that the creator of the Metal Gear series isn't involved, and it has different play styles and stuff. I think some sort of like zombie kind of thing is getting into Metal Gear, so it might be kind of weird, but hey, sometimes you got to give these things a chance. You guys let us know what you think in the comments of this one.
Absolutely, man. But right along those same lines, we got Metro Exodus, right? Now, the Metro series is another game series. The last one was Metro Last Night. Last Light, I'm sorry. This one picks up right where that one ended off in a wasteland version of Moscow inhabited with mutants and stuff like that. So this is another action-adventure shooter game, man. So there should be plenty of friendly faces from the previous games, and it sounds like it's going to be pretty kicking. All right, we got another one of these like cutesy, little indie games. This one is from Meowza Games. You heard that right, Meowza Games. It's an Animal Crossing-like adventure, and it's bursting with cuteness, dude.
There you go. That's what we got to say with this one. Like I say, this is popular now, this art style and stuff. So
yeah, these stylized games. Players inhabit a land of cats, and they go about managing a market stall, exploring, crafting, and collecting resources. So very cool there. This is Monster Hunter World, all right, which is kind of like the name that like your 5-year-old nephew would give a game if they created it. It's Monster Hunter World, but from this art and like what's going on in like the trailer, I want to play this. It is awesome, right? You're a monster hunter in a world filled with giant, larger-than-life monsters, and you just go around killing them. We don't really need to say much else. This is going to be awesome. Go and play it.
Absolutely, man.
Yeah, and this is one of the few games that we know is coming out January 26th.
Oh,
so this is right around the corner, man.
Absolutely.
All right. Railway Empire coming at you.
Okay, so I take it, is this like one of those like Zoo Tycoons or something?
Yeah,
where you kind of
strategy world building sort of game, based around making your own locomotive system. I mean, a couple hundred years ago, this was all everybody did, man. This is how the people made their big money. So it's pretty cool to get to sit down and play a thing like that. If you're into that sort of thing.
Jimmy P over here is saying that Monster Hunter is actually one of the most anticipated games, at least in some of the crews that he's run with.
Yeah.
So it definitely sounds like it has a big fan base, but man, we don't know if it matches this fan base right here, man.
The Red Dead Redemption Part 2. And again, like I've said so many times before, I'll believe it when I see it. When it hits a shelf at a Walmart near me, I'll be surprised.
Now, one thing I could say about this game, just going by what they've shown us so far, it looks like they're really going to expand on the world that you can explore in. You got like a canoe, you can go into the lake, and it's not just like your typical, Wild West shootout kind of in the bar. It looks like it's going to have a whole. It's going to probably be bigger than what they offered in GTA 5, and of course your Red Dead Redemption. So definitely it should be quite an adventure.
Absolutely, man. I know Party Man Will out there is just chomping at the bit to play that game.
Oh, you know it, man. I'm surprised he hasn't blown up any comments yet, but we are running a little later, so he may have had to jump off.
But all right, we're looking at the return of the Obra Dinn.
Okay, well,
you familiar with this one?
Honestly, no. I'm not. I've never heard of this one before.
This one has a real throwback look to it, right? So it's created by Lucas Pope, the maker of Papers, Please. This startlingly monochrome mystery game, because it's all in black and white, is set aboard an abandoned 19th century ship. The player takes on the role of an insurance adjuster who explores the vessel to find out the fate of its crew.
That sounds pretty cool,
right?
I like it.
Yeah, so it's very old school. It's like you said, almost like a point-and-click mystery.
Okay.
I'm sure there's going to be some different element to it, though, but I mean, it's really looking wild. It looks like you can shoot guns, like you're going to get attacked by stuff, maybe some ghost mysteries or crazy pirate crew. Like, who knows? There's not a lot of info out on it yet, but the stylized look of it is really catching people's eyes, man, so it's pretty cool.
I'm going to have to put that on my wish list.
Next up, we've got the Sea of Thieves.
Now, I know at E3 they showed off a lot of like pirate, thieves kind of deal. Now, is this that one pirate game where you could like shoot people out of cannons and stuff like that?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure that's exactly what this is. And it has this cooperative play where you can get together or you can play with other like NPC characters, but you go around and you get to just explore and loot treasure and just be a real pirate. And it's kind of cartoony looking and stuff, so it's not very violent or anything like that. But it's very kind of Pirates of the Caribbean-y sort of fun.
Sure.
So this really looked like something fun to me that I dug. So I really am keeping an eye out for this one.
Well, Jimmy Z over here, he's definitely saying that he's very excited about Sea of Thieves. So it sounds like it definitely has its fans out there.
We're going to have to co-op, man. We're going to have to co-op.
There you go.
All right, we got Shadow of the Tomb Raider, man. I don't know how anticipated you could be for a game series that makes a game every year. You know?
Well, I know like a few years back when I think Square got involved with them, and they kind of like started it back up, so it's not like the continuing story from the old PC games. So, I think this kind of blends into that. But you're right. I know they did just release one like back when I was picking up another game, and I was like, oh, they're doing another Tomb Raider, huh? So,
yeah, I have a feeling this is another film tie-in, because that Tomb Raider movie's coming out later this year. It's going to be kind of another just tie-in sort of game.
When are we going to get the It tie-in, you know what I'm saying?
Well, we're definitely getting Soul Calibur 666.
Well, it's funny, man. Like we were saying earlier about fighting games, we were talking about Dragon Ball and stuff like that. Same thing. I know this Soul Calibur has a huge following. One thing I always remember about Soul Calibur is like different systems get different like exclusive fighters.
Yeah.
Like remember Link was part of the one?
I can tell you this is probably why people are excited about it right here. But yeah, I don't know. This has never really blown my skirt up as a fighting game. But yeah, you're right. I've seen that. How like they'll get Link on one, you'll get to play as like Master Chief on another or something crazy like that. And they have all sorts of crazy characters that they put into this. So that's pretty cool.
Absolutely.
All right, here's a much anticipated one. This is the game that makes me want to buy a PS4, bro. I am telling you.
Now, we all love going back, or at least thinking of those memories, back playing like the PS2 and playing those old Spider-Man games.
Yeah.
This game looks like it's going to be so much fun, so cool. Where you're going to like, it's probably going to be almost like the where Arkham Asylum was like the equivalent of being Batman.
Yeah.
Finally going to have a game where you feel like you are Spider-Man.
Yeah, that's what they're saying. It's very akin to the experience you had with the Arkham series. And this game is totally built on Sunset Overdrive's engine.
Oh, wow.
So it should be pretty impressive.
Really off the wall, kind of just flying all over the place. Yeah, so I'm sure it's going to be great. Like you said, really makes me want to chuck out the money for a PS4.
Absolutely, man. State of Decay 2.
What's really cool is I remember when State of Decay first came out, like I actually got it like on like one of those free weekends or something like that, and I played it for a good like 10 hours, and it was great because you get to collect all these different playable characters, right? But what happened is like during the game, like when you like leave the game, like if you didn't shut a door or something, like the game almost kind of continues to happen.
Yeah.
So like when I loaded the game back up, like all my people were like dead except for like one guy that like I guess ran away. And I was like, what the hell happened? I thought there'd be a little more tutorial to it. So I kind of never really went back, but it was a very like cool idea. So I'm sure
I kind of hate that shit in games, but they're saying a 4-player co-op is the main thrust of, this State of Decay. So that'll be pretty awesome.
Oh, I see Jimmy Z down here saying that maybe in this new Spider-Man game we'll find out what happened to Uncle Ben. Now, real quick funny story about that. We had the Spider-Man the movie on the game on PS2, but it had a scratch in it. So like when you'd play it, like on that first level, he's like, I gotta find out what happened to Uncle Ben. But it kept repeating that over and over and over again. So that's what he's referencing there. So good callback, man.
All right. 30th anniversary of Street Fighter.
Absolutely, man. Now that's the original Street Fighter game that came out back in like 1988, I guess. So it's like, yeah, man, this is like going to be I think also an exclusive PlayStation, but yeah, it's going to have like every like Street Fighter game like up till, I don't know if it has the newest one, but definitely the classics, the original Street Fighter, all the like 16 different variations of like Street Fighter 2 that came out.
So this is kind of like the Master Chief collection of Street Fighter games. It's going to have all the Street Fighter games.
Pretty much. I think this also ties into, remember we were talking about that cartridge? Now this itself is like a PlayStation name, but remember we talked about that cartridge that they were making, but it could set your Super Nintendo on fire. So
they were remaking the original cartridge you could buy, and it was like, it came with a huge warning about it overheating and exploding your game systems. So
Oh man,
Cool.
Eric G here. He's talking about the old Street Fighter 2 anime. I absolutely remember that, man, because one thing I remember about it is it had a awesome soundtrack. Honestly, I don't want to say it's the first time like I had heard Korn and some of these other, but I remember like when they brought it over here to America, they put a bunch of like American metal bands like and it was a good anime. I mean, it was like, action. You saw all the characters.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure Chung-Li got nude for like a shower scene and like I said, very much.
So it was like 1,000 times better than the movie.
Oh yeah, the movie. Like what's funny is I think the movie came out first, and like over in Japan they were like,
what?
They just facepalmed that, and they were like, let's show them what it's really about. But it was an awesome anime.
Oh, that's great, man. I'll have to check that one out sometime. Maybe it's on some streaming systems or something. But
there you go.
Next up here, we've got System Shock.
Oh, man. Now, is this a remake of the old game?
Absolutely. 1994's first-person sci-fi classic opens up some areas in the original as well by tidying up dialogue and filling plot holes.
Wow, that's pretty cool, man.
Yeah.
Like, I know System Shock has been I mean, a lot of games call that like a spiritual successor, like BioShock, System Shock was like or BioShock was a spiritual successor to System Shock. So I'm sure a lot of fans will go back and now play this one. So that's pretty cool.
Absolutely, man. Yeah, it's super cool. And with the success of the Resident Evil Zeros and stuff like that, I could definitely see how remaking these games and adding extra elements to it, even the first couple Halo games in the Master Chief Collection, getting to replay some of these old things are just fantastic.
Absolutely, man.
Oh, speaking of getting to replay some old school stuff.
Oh, man, I am so stoked to hear about this one, man. I know back in the day, I definitely had a Super Nintendo, but I was also one of those lucky kids that had the Sega Genesis as well. And man, Toe Jam and Earl, that was my jam, man. It was such a great party game. There was only 2 players, but like you guys could trade off, or if you fell back to and it was cool because you kind of like went up to the different levels. Now I know they made a couple sequels that were never really,
as good as the original.
Yeah. Now, from what I heard, though, I think this Back in the Groove is going to definitely be in the same vein as the first game.
It's going to be back in the groove, dude.
You got it. It's right in the name.
All right, next up, we've got Total Wars, The Thrones of Britannia.
Okay, so what's going on in this game, El Bandito?
This is another real-time strategy game.
Okay.
So this is very cool. I used to have one of the Total Wars games back in the day, and yeah, it's kind of in that classic World of Warcraft RTS style, man.
Oh, cool.
This is a spin-off of the historical game. It's focused on pivotal moments in history rather than the whole of an era. So the first entry is all about Vikings that attack Britain. So.
Oh, that's cool, man. Like I said, I love that some of these older styles of gameplay don't die.
Yeah.
What I mean? It's fun sometimes to load up some of those old games, even if you got to put like DOSBox or something on your computer and you got the old disc or something. But like, yeah, man, just some of those real-time strategies are just a blast.
Yeah, super good because it's simple and it just works, and that sometimes is the best thing in a game. Travis Strikes Again, No More Heroes. Are you familiar with this guy?
Now, I know No More Heroes is like an ongoing series, so I take it that this has some sort of tie-in with that.
Well, this is a Nintendo Switch exclusive, right? And it once again stars Travis Touchdown, the star of the previous No More Games, or No More Heroes.
Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
No more games.
No more of these games, damn it. I don't know how to play it. The first one launched back in 2007, so it's been a minute since they had one of these games. It was on the Nintendo Wii, and there was a sequel that followed it up in 2010, and then this is a sequel to that.
Oh, you know it, man. Like I said, I know the artwork, obviously very anime style, kind of, so definitely, yeah, it looks cool, but man, this next game though, what's going on here?
Yeah, this is the latest entry in Calypso's political management simulation. It's going to be tougher than its 2014 predecessor, but as a dictator, it's the player's job to keep warring factions happy, lest they gang up and throw a coup. So political speech making also makes a return, offering opportunities for the sort of dishonest, self-aggrandizing, loved by tiny pot authoritarians.
Oh, well, I mean, you think of games like Civilization and stuff like that, and it seems like this is kind of a extension.
Yeah, like this is kind of like Civilizations, except you're like purposely being like a crappy dictator to people. So it's pretty wild. True. Yeah. So we'll see what happens there. But we've got Valkyrie. I think it's Valkyrie. You got that one?
Valkyria Chronicles 4.
Yeah, Valkyria. I don't know. We got this cool game with Valkyries in it.
Valkyria cha cha cha. Sorry guys, this is when Power Hour goes past 10:30.
So these distinctive watercolor visuals are making a comeback with a new story in this Japanese RPG series. It takes place in a war vaguely reminiscent of early 20th century conflicts on the continent of Europa. So it features a new class of soldier, the Grenadier, and the game is sticking to its roost of turn-based strategy-style battle systems. So kind of Final Fantasy. Think Final Fantasy.
Sure. I mean, it sounds like it's an ongoing series, like it mentioned. Yeah. So, I mean, I'm sure it has its fans out there.
Absolutely, man. All right, and then we got Vampire, which looks like this rad new game. It's coming to all sorts of platforms. It's a third-person action role-playing game set in 1918 London, where players take on the role of a physician called Jonathan Reed, who is also a vampire. He goes in search of victims, scoping out targets, but he has a conscience, so players can choose carefully who they wish to kill and even play the game without killing anyone.
Oh, so this is kind of, this makes me think of...
It's like Dexter, the vampire.
Yeah, or Dishonored. That game kind of had a very similar thing where you could stick to the stealth and not kill anybody, or you could go on a rampage. So yeah, like you said, but Dexter, that definitely has a
it's like Dexter the vampire.
Now I wonder if he's going to have to feed though. He's if he's a vampire, he's probably going to have a thirst.
Yeah, but again, I think you can, like what it's saying is you can thirst off of like bad guys, like enemies, like killers and stuff like that, because you're you're a physician, so maybe it's people dying or something.
Oh, there you go. Just go to the hospice. Was there a hospice back then?
Or donated blood? We'll have to wait and see on that one. But it sounds cool. Yeah, I mean, if you wanted to tell me Dexter was a vampire, I'd play that game. You don't have to tell me anything else about it. All right, then we've got Wandersong.
Wandersong? This almost sounds like something out of freaking Wolfenstein.
Absolutely, man. But this is an old school side scroller with a combat system driven by music. So Wandersong stars a bard who defeats enemies by solving puzzles using his singing voice alone.
Oh, that's okay. So, like, same thing. It has that kind of cutesy kind of look to it. That's real,
Yeah, and this is Nintendo Switch and PC only.
Okay.
So, I'm pretty excited about this next game, though. This is War Games.
Okay, right? So what's going on here?
Well, this is a reimagining of the 1983 Cold War thriller War Games. You remember with Matthew Broderick?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. So
Would you like to play a game?
Yeah, you got it, man. So this is set in the modern world, and it's a narrative where you control the choices that a hacker called Kelly, who has the skills to ask difficult questions about how safe we are in the world today, which is dominated by computer networks. So, and you have to go through there. And again, this is kind of leading back into that Winter Soldier sort of piracy, personal freedom sort of stuff,
It seems like a very interesting concept.
Yeah, and it's all done through these narratives of live action shots. I don't know if this is too small for you guys to see, but it's real live action stuff. I know they used to have a foray in that in kind of the mid 90s where they would make games in first person. Those like McCready's Shootout or something?
Yes.
And it was like real video and you'd pull
Who
the
shot
trigger.
Johnny Rock?
All these. But this is going back to that kind of narrative style. So I really thought this was interesting, especially based on the old film, which I really like.
Sure. I'll definitely check that one out.
All right. We Happy Few. What can you tell us about this one?
Oh, man. This game, I think the first time I saw footage of it was about 2 years ago at E3. I think it was right around the same time that Fallout 4 made its debut at E3. So I think it kind of, Fallout kind of outshone it, where it kind of has a very similar story, but I know it all takes place in like a London kind of setting, and it's in like the 1960s, and people are being like fed pretty much these drugs to keep them happy.
Oh, nice.
Now, I don't know where the story, I mean, I would assume the story goes that you go off your medicine and these creepy looking, Bobby kind of guys are pretty much hunting you down. But it seems like it's almost like a Fallout-esque Bioshock kind of setup where you're trying to sneak around and stuff. I said, as far as like how the actual gameplay or story goes, like this one's more, as so far you've kind of gotten a feel for the environment, and it just seems like it's very much gonna grasp onto the folks that are like Fallout players. So
gotcha. So it's sounds pretty wild, man. I know. I love the artwork again on it. Like that dude looks creepy as hell, you know. So it tells me a lot about the game just from looking at it, you know, like the feel of it. So
absolutely,
I think that's pretty cool. What can you tell us about going on in the World of Warcraft?
Oh man, you know, one thing you have to given World of Warcraft definitely a huge amount of credit is that they're going on like their 14th year of being active. You know, the game came out in 2004, and it just continues to keep going with their expansions and updates and stuff. And I mean, I know there's some folks that we're friends with that are still playing that started way back then. So I mean, it definitely has its pull. I think back in 2011, I jumped on for a couple months, and I was running around as a blood elf rogue and having a lot of fun with that. And it was great for the time. I don't know. It kind of, the whole multiplayer thing kind of dries out really quick for me, except for Friday the 13th. That game rocks. So you guys got to get on there.
Well, that game is so short. Like every round is so short. It's different all the time. Where that's the same thing that kind of steers me away from a lot of these open world MMOs. You know, it's just redundant. You're just kind of doing the same thing with a different skin all the time, and I don't know. It just doesn't really blow me away. I mean, even the original real-time strategy games that were all Warcraft, to me, were 1,000 times more engaging. Even though, again, you're doing the same thing over and over again, but they're short little bursts, and they're always different.
Well, if you guys have ever wondered what's kept us from getting a Warcraft 4, eventually, once this dies, if it ever dies, we'll probably get Warcraft 4. But I mean, it has continued the story. Yeah. So I mean, but you have to kind of, if you were going to jump in now, you'd have to go back and read everything you've missed, because as they've released more and more expansions, I mean, they have panda bears in it in one part. They got a whole kung fu panda. They got wild shit in here. That's it's almost that kind of daunting thing that makes them reset comic books every 15 years. Sure. You know, is that there's so much history that people feel like they can't catch up, you know? Well, I definitely got to give it its credit that, game's almost been out for 15 years and it still is very active. Yeah. It is definitely the king of the MMO. I mean, there's been one, I mean, even that Star Wars game, the Old Republic that came out, everyone thought that was going to be the one to dethrone. Nope, that game's dead now. So hats off to you, Warcraft. Keep doing what you're doing. People seem to love it. Absolutely, man. Maybe one of these days we'll get back on there. I don't know. But we'll probably be too busy playing Yoshi over on the Nintendo Switch. Hey, one thing I got to give the Switch, man, is there's been a lot of games tonight. Yeah. You know? I mean, I know it's a relatively new system, but, man, they're cranking out stuff. And who better than to get the lovable dinosaur Yoshi in there? Or Yoshis, I guess. There's a lot of them. That's the species name, So. Yeah. So we'll see what's kicking with that, man. That sounds like they're going to have a lot of fun with that. And, it's Yoshi. We could go on and tell you about it, but you know what it is. It's exactly fun. People are familiar with him. But definitely, man. What an awesome. I mean, same thing. These games are coming out at various times during the year. I'm sure there's going to be more announcements as the year goes on. But definitely, if you guys know a game that we didn't mention tonight that we need to check out, let us know in the comments, man, and we'll definitely be raving about it soon. Yeah, absolutely, guys. I mean, that's going to wrap it up for our 50 most anticipated games of the year. You can tell there's a lot of those that we're way more anticipated about than others, Absolutely. But that's the kind of short list they have, and that's going to encompass the entirety of the year for everything that's coming out. Now, there's going to be a lot of new announcements and releases for different games that we didn't mention here tonight as the year progresses and goes on. So please feel free to stay tuned with us and check back with us every Monday night right here at 9 p.m., where we'll normally just be doing an hour, maybe 50 was too many. We'll cut that down to 8 for future shows. But we had a lot of fun hanging out here with you guys tonight. We hope you saw a lot of games that maybe you didn't know were coming out that you're stoked about. If you did, throw us a like, throw us a love. Make sure to share the video out on your wall so that other people can check it out. Thank you guys so much for joining us tonight. We're going to be back next week with another awesome episode, because we wanted to give everyone a little bit of time to make sure that we are going to do a spoiler-heavy episode. Oh, it's going to be loaded with them. Yeah, so next week, Star Wars, The Last Jedi. We're going to tell you what we think about the movie. We're going to tell you what we think about the Star Wars franchise. We're going to be having a lot of Star Wars fun. So if you've seen the movie already,
come and join us next week. If you haven't, head over to our YouTube page, hit subscribe, and then that way you can always come back and find it later. Otherwise, we'll see you guys out there. Thanks so much for tuning in. We hope you had a fun night. We certainly did. Say goodnight, Senior Bowl.
Good night, everybody. Once again, thanks everyone for staying up late with us. You guys have been awesome, great interactive audience, and we'll see you guys next week.
No doubt. We'll see you guys next week, and thanks for joining us.
Yeah.